Guys and girls, welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to do a Jira tutorial for a Scrum Master, how Jira works for a Scrum Master and how a Scrum Master uses it on a daily basis. That is what we are going to teach in this video. If you are looking for this full course or full guidelines on what we are going to teach in this video, send me an email and I will be happy to share this information with you guys. Watch this video from start to the end and I will show you guys how to use Jira from beginning all the way till the end. With that said, let's get started. Also, we are going to do Confluence in a separate video. Confluence is a parallel software to Jira where we store documentation and where we store different information related to the project. That will also be shown in the next video. With that said, let's get started with this Jira tutorial. So when you open up Jira, this is the screen that you will end up on. How you open up Jira is you just go to Google, just type Jira. This is where you will end up. Okay, now you click on this thing and you log in, and the login is free for up to 5 team members. So what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and log in. Once we log in into Jira software, this is how the screen will look like. What we are going to do here is let's say we are starting a project from scratch. Generally in most projects, the dashboard will already be created, something like this. This is how the dashboard will look like. You just go in there, you just see the stories, you just see the issues on the swim lanes and things like that. But we will create everything from scratch. So let's just go to the project dashboard and we will go ahead and we will create a new project. Okay, if you have to create a new project, this is how you will do it. So we'll click on creating a new project. So it will ask you, is it a software development project or a service management project or a product management project, or is it something else? So mostly it's software development, but it can also be service management projects where you resolve tickets, things like that. So for us, it's a software development project and we are going to use Scrum. And as you can see, there is bug tracking, there is Kanban as well. So you can use that depending on the project, type of project you're doing. But we are using Scrum and we are using software development. Okay, and we are going to click on use template. Okay, so use template, we are going to do set up and maintained by your team or set up and maintained by your Jira admins. So we'll do a select a company managed project because that is the most common. And we're going to name this project something, let's say, we are going to name this project Jira and Confluence, or let's just have a typical name. We're going to name this project web app development, and the key will be WAT. And we will click on this and we'll click on next. This is going to be our project. Okay, and we will click on Confluence will be connected. Okay, no worries, that's good. And the project is getting set up right now. Now we'll click on go to project. Now this project has been created now. So we have a project which is a web app development project, and this is how the initial screen will look like before the project has been started. Okay, we haven't started working on anything yet. We have just created a project. This is our project. Now, for example, you as a Scrum Master, we are handed this. Hey, we are just starting a project. The dashboard has already been created. How will we navigate further now? So let's say you are getting this board. First of all, what you will do is you have created a project. You will go to project settings. Here we are looking for permissions. Okay, you will see who is the admin. If you, generally Scrum Master is the admin, but so over here basically you are seeing all the permissions that are given to all team members, and you will take notes of those. Who has what permission? Okay, you are basically seeing who can edit stories, who can create stories, who can create tickets, who can administer projects. And your goal should be basically to limit that thing to only you and to other admins if you want. Okay, and that's how it works. Don't give permission to everyone, that's not recommended, but it also depends on the team. But generally, don't give permission to everyone. So right now we are looking for Jira admins. So we are going to look here, we are going to see what what permissions admin people have. Go through this, you would see who has what permissions, and make sure that you are the admin and make sure that you have all the permissions. Okay, now we will go back to our project board. We are going to our app development project board. We have seen all the permissions. We have an idea of who is the admin. In this board, I am the admin. As a Scrum Master, I am the admin. So we are going to start this project, web app development project. We have seen the permissions. We have created a new project. And now let's get started. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to build out a roadmap. How we are going to build out a roadmap is just, this is the responsibility of the product owner. But if you don't have a product owner and you're the project manager, then you work with the business analyst and you work with the business to kind of fill these. Okay, so let's say what releases we are going to have, right? Let's say one release is going to be um, web app front end interface. That is going to be one release. Okay, so that's one roadmap. And where did it go? Front end interface. Okay, that is going to be one of our releases, and let's follow that one for now. And we are going to say it's going to be done right here in December. We are going to say this release is going from November to December. So this release will take 2 months, and we're planning the release in December. Okay, web app front end interface. That's the roadmap so far. Now what we will do is we will so this is an epic. Okay, this is an epic. And so this epic will need to be done by December. Okay, so we have created an epic where we are going to design web app front end interface. We are going to add that information here. Okay, you can add that information here. Generally what we will add is acceptance criteria. And before the acceptance criteria, you'll just add a little bit of information. So what are we trying to do with this? This epic. And this is the role of a product owner. Again, this is the role of a product owner or a business analyst. But if you are a project manager, you might have to do these things working alongside the business analyst and the business. But this is not the responsibility of a Scrum Master, but we are teaching it just to give a holistic view. With this epic, we want to build a front-end app interface. And you can write the acceptance criteria here. You know, have a login screen where customer can log in, have a username and password entry, have a forgot password entry. Okay, and that sort of thing. So this is the acceptance criteria. This is just random, acceptance criteria, but this is how you will fill out the epic. And we have set our roadmap and we are going to save this information. Okay, currently it's unassigned, but it will be assigned to generally the product owner, but in this case I'm going to assign it to myself since I'm the Scrum Master here. So I assigned it to me. And priority level, we are going to label the priority level as the highest because this is what we are working on. Labels, you can add labels to it if you want to. Like for example, what labels I add sometimes is that if I want to link it to another project or if I want to link it to another Scrum Master's team, I would add that label here. Just as a reminder. And then rule executions, we'll look at what rule executions is. So this, I have never used that. Okay, so we have created an epic, and now what we are going to do is we're going to make sure we have all the information. But yeah, so we have an epic now. Now what we are going to do is we are going to go to the backlog. In the backlog, we are going to create stories. Okay, and then once we have created those stories, we will link them to the epic. So the stories will be like this. Okay, as a user, I want to be able to log in through the front screen. Okay, this is going to be our first user story. As a user, I want to be able to log in through the front screen. And how I created this user story, I went to the backlog and I just clicked here. Or you can also do here. You can click on create, and this will allow you to create a story, create a bug, or create a task, or create an epic. Okay, generally it's just bug and epic, but you can create a story, bug, and epic. Okay, so as a user, I want to be able to log in through the front screen. Let's just make that a story. Now we'll click on that story, and we will assign it a priority. We will assign it a priority of very high. Unassigned, we will assign it to Chetan, or you can assign it to whoever in the team you feel like you want to assign it to. Generally, it's assigned to the product owner before refinement and the planning. So once we have that, it's in to do status, and what we are going to do is we are trying to link it to the epic. So what we are going to do here is we are going to add it to the app. Yeah, here's a link. So we are going to link it to the Epic web app front end interface, and we are going to add story points to it. We are looking for, let's say, after discussion during the refinement, we give it, let's say, 3 story points, and so there's 3 story points. That means it's quite a mid-sized story. And over here we are going to add some description and some acceptance criteria. Okay, so we will add some description and we will add acceptance criteria, whatever the acceptance criteria for the story is, right? And you as a Scrum Master, you have to make sure that those things are there. So once those things are there, it's assigned to the proper person, it has the proper estimation to it, it has the proper priority to it, and then we can we will add it to the sprint, but let's hold on off for that for now. But that's it. So we have created a user story, we have added to the epic. So far we have logged into the Jira board, we have created our own project, we have created our own epic. uh, Once we created our own epic and our roadmap, we created a user story and we linked it to that epic. Once we linked it to that epic, that user story now has all the information. It has the story point, it has the epic link, it has the priority and all that information. Okay, so we have all this information. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to go to active sprints. And in active sprints, what we are going to do is we are going to start a sprint, and we are going to add that story to our current sprint, which for now we only have one story. Actually, let's go back to the backlog and let's create a new story. So we are going to use this, we are going to create a new story. As a user, I want to be able to click on forget password on the main screen. Again, we will make sure that this has proper description and this has proper acceptance criteria. And once we have that, we will make sure that this is a story, so we will make sure that that's there. And we can even add some attachments here, and we are going to link this to our epic, which is web app front end interface. And yeah, so that's it. And we are going to name the priority as high. Okay, it's not highest, but it's high. Okay, assignee, we are going to assign it to me. And now this thing right here, which is the linked issues, if you see this right here, this can link to a different story as a dependency. So if you are saying that, hey, I have a dependency on a different story for this story, you can link this to a different story, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we are going to, let's say this is blocked by our other user story, which is I want to be able to log in through the front screen. So we can link these two, and now once that is completed, then we will start working on that, and it will show over there. Okay, it will show over there that this is blocked by the other user story. So this is how you create dependencies in Jira. If you have a dependency on a different user story or a different sprint or something like that, you will just click here, you will choose that particular item, and then you will link this story to that. So that way you can track it as a dependency. Okay, or you can say is blocked by, is related to, or things like that, right? So now once we have that information, we are just going to click on create. There we go, we have another user story here, and it's in the same thing, and we forgot to give it story points, so we'll go back, we'll give it some story points. Let's say we are giving it this one, we're going to give 1 story point. So that's that. Now let's create a new story. We're going to create a new user story, which is going to be as a user, I want to be able to type username and password. And again, this will be done by the product owner and the technical team. You just facilitate these conversations and make sure these conversations happen. But knowing these things is also super critical. Okay, so once we have that, we have another user story. Now what we are going to go to the user story and we're going to do the same thing. Make sure we have a proper description, we have a proper acceptance criteria with the user story. And once we have those things, we'll click on save, and then we'll make sure that it's assigned to the right person, which is right now I'm just sending it to me. Make sure we have a proper priority. It's high priority. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to add, we are going to link it to the epic. Epic is going to be web app front end interface. That's the epic we're going to link it to. Make sure we add story points to it. Let's say we are adding 3 story points to this story. Okay, so there it is. So we have 3 story points. We are linking it to an epic, and that's that. And there we go. We have our story ready. All right. So once we have that, we have 3 user stories. We're going to create one more, and we can, let's show the epic here. This says that this is the epic, and this is the epic, and it has 3 user stories, and it has 7 story points in it. So let's show it right here. Okay, and now we are going to create another user story. As a user, I want to be able to access the database when I log in. And again, these are all sample user stories. So again, in this story, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to write a description. We are going to write an acceptance criteria. What are the steps that need to be done before we can call this story as completed? And then we're going to assign it to the proper developer who's going to work on this. We're going to give it a priority. We are going to give it story points, let's say 3 story points, and we are going to link it to the epic, which epic it's linking to, which is web app front end interface. And once this is linked, voila, the story is created. Now what we are going to do is, so now we have a backlog. We have 4 issues in the backlog. Okay, and we have an epic. So one epic, 4 issues, 4 stories. Right now our goal will be, in one sprint we are going to add at least, let's say we have 2 developers and they can only complete 7 story points based on the past results, right? They could only complete 7 story points. So what we are going to do is we're going to create a sprint and we are going to add 7 story points worth of user stories to the sprint. Okay, that's what we are going to do now. So what we have done so far, we have created an epic, we have created user stories, we have linked the user stories to the epic, we have given story points to the user stories, and we have created dependencies between these 2 user stories. This story is dependent on that, as you can see right here. This story is blocked by, as you can see, we did that dependency thing, we linked it to the other user story. So we have done that. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add all this information to the sprint. Okay, we are going to create a sprint and we are going to add all of this to the sprint. So right here in the backlog board, you can see the option of create sprint. That's what we are going to click on. So let's create a sprint. Okay, and this is going to be our sprint 1. And what we are going to do is we are simply going to drag and drop these issues to our sprint. So remember, 7 story points. We cannot add more than 7 story points. So we will add these stories to our sprint, and there it is. So we are working on 7 story points in this sprint. Okay. So let's click on that, and we're going to click on start sprint. Our sprint is going to be 2 weeks, and we are going to start the sprint, let's say tomorrow, 17 November. And what is our sprint goal? Our sprint goal will be 7 story points and give the ability to the customer to log in and enter their info and access the database. Okay, that will be the sprint goal, a sample sprint goal. Okay, and you can change it according to your project, but that's going to be our sprint goal, and we're going to click on start. Now our sprint is started. Okay, we have 3 swim lanes, which is to do, in progress, and done. We are going to modify that. Okay, we're going to modify that, and we're going to create a new swim lane here. Board settings, let's see, swim lanes. Swim lanes of stories is good. General, okay, we are going to see this. We are going to see that the columns. Okay, here it is. So how we are going to add a new board, new swim lane is basically we are going to go to active sprints. We're going to click on board settings and we're going to add a column here. The column name is going to be blocked. Okay, and the category is name is okay. We're going to add that. So we have to do, in progress, blocked, and done. Okay, and one more column we are going to add is in review. Okay, we are going to add that. We are going to add review. We are going to add. So we have to do, in progress, blocked, review, and done. Those are the swim lanes we are going to use, and you can change them as well. You can even put if you don't want specific more than a specific number in a particular column, you can change that here as well. And you can do all sort of things, play around with it. And yeah, so that's what we are going to do so far, and we are going to go back, and you can change the permissions from here, from this place as well. So we're going to go back to our active sprints. uh, and so how I got to that is I clicked on these three dots and I clicked on board settings, and that's how I was able to get to that interface. So now we have three user stories on our sprint board. We are going to place them in different buckets. So which is the highest? This is the highest priority. So we are going to place this one in progress. We're going to place this one in review, and yeah, so we're going to place this one in review. Hold on, why is this not going to review? Okay, let's put this one in review, and yeah. Okay, you're going to change the status of this. Okay, so this one is in review, and this one is in progress, this one is in review, and as soon as one thing is done, we will click on done. Okay, now what we have done so far, we have created an epic, we have gone to the backlog, we have created user stories, we have attached those user stories to the epic. We have created dependencies. The highest priority story has a dependency on this story, so these two stories are dependent on each other. We have linked them to each other. Okay, what we have also done is we have created a sprint. We have started a sprint, 2-week sprint. We have created an active sprint, which is ongoing right now. Now, what the next thing we are going to do is we are going to look at sprint burn down charts and other reports. Okay, we are going to click on insights. This is our sprint progress. When we click on insight, this is what it shows, and we can expand this as well. So 86% in progress, 14% not started. This is our sprint burn down chart as it shows, and issues for attention blocked by this. W83 is blocked by W82, and this is our epic progress so far. Okay, so that's how this is working. Okay, so we have our sprint progress here, we have sprint burn down chart here, we have our issues for attention, and we have epic progress here. Okay, now we can see all that information right here, and this is all how it looks like right now. And this is how your sprint board will look like. If you're joining in as a new Scrum Master, the only things you need to be worried about is what are the different epics. The backlog will show you all the different epics. The roadmap will show you all the different epics. And when you are in the epics, you can see all the user stories that are linked to that epic. And this board will also show you which story is linked to what. So as you can see, this story is dependent on this story to be completed. So they're blocked by each other. So when you are in an epic, you can see that information as well. Now we're going to go back to the active sprints, and this is how your board will look like. This is how everything will look like, and you have to make sure that things are moving and things are not stuck. Okay, now we're going to go back to reports, and we are going to look at reports, what kind of reports we need to generate for our stakeholders, for our customers, right? Generally, what you can generate is a velocity chart. Is super important. Okay, so we're going to generate velocity chart. Once we complete this sprint, we will be able to do that. We are going to create a velocity chart, we are going to create a release epic burn down chart, and we are going to create a sprint burn down chart. Okay, and the sprint report as well. So as you can see, this sprint report is super critical, and we can even export that in Excel. So we will show that also later down the line. But this is a sprint report. It shows you how many stories are there, how many are done, how many are in progress, how many are completed. Okay, that's what it shows right here. So what we are going to do now is we are going to go back to the project. We are going to go back to active sprint. And these reports are super critical for the stakeholders. We are going now with the sprint report. What we can also do is we can go to issue navigator. And with issue navigator, what we can do is we can export all this information to Excel. Okay, so once we have this, we're going to click on all issues. As you can see, all issues are right here. And what we are going to do is we are going to export this into Excel, and you can export it into Excel and you can play around with that as well. You can see how it works in Excel. Okay, so to export things to Excel, simply go back. Let's go back there. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to our project. So to export things to Excel, you will click on the report that you want to export. You will click on View in Issue Navigator. Once you click on View in Issue Navigator, you will click on All Issues. And from all issues, you can filter out from different issues. Let's say I only want issues from Sprint 1, right? So I can filter that out from here. I only want issues from web app development. So it will show me all the issues from here, and now I can export it to Excel. Okay, all issues from here, and I can analyze who did what, how many story points were completed, what information is missing, what are the comments. I can analyze all that information from right here. Okay, now let's go back to that page that we came from. So this is how you will create reports. This is how you will create stories. This is how you create epics. This is how you will complete the sprints and things like that. Sprint report is a super critical report, and this is what's going to be most critical in most projects. However, every project is different, but most of the times you will need the sprint report and the velocity report and the burn down chart. Okay, so this is the burn down chart for us, and you can see it shows how the progress went. So so burn down chart, sprint report, and velocity chart, these three are super critical for any project, and epic burn down as well. So these things are super critical for any project. These are the reports that you have to create, and how you will do that is you will just click on reports here. Below active sprints, you will click on reports, and if you don't see the reports over here, you go to settings and you fix that. Okay, it's pretty easy to do. All you What we have done so far, we have created epics, we have created stories, we have created a sprint, we have linked stories to each other as dependencies. We have started the sprint, we have added story points to the stories, we have added description and acceptance criteria to the user stories, we have pulled the stories in the sprint. We have completed the sprint. Now let's click on complete sprint over here. Okay, we're going to click on complete sprint. Okay, so as you can see, the sprint has been completed, and now it's automatically taking us to the sprint report, and it's asking us to retrospective. Let's click on that. Let's see where it takes us. Okay, it's taking us to Confluence. We'll get into that a little bit later. So it is taking us to the sprint report. It's showing us what we did so far and what we didn't do, and I want to view this in Issue Navigator. What I generally do is I click on I take these out into Excel, and I create pie charts of what we did so far, how was the progress, how many story points we did, and things like that. And what's the bugs like, how many bugs we completed in the sprint. So all of those things you can see in Excel as well if you are an Excel person. I'm an Excel person, so I like to view everything in Excel and take these out and play around with them in Excel. So that's what a Scrum Master does. Okay, those are the responsibilities of a Scrum Master. Basically, handling these reports for the stakeholders, for the technical team, and making sure that you have enough topics to discuss during the sprint retrospective. What will happen is this burn down chart. Currently, it's looking like this, stable. Generally it won't be this stable. Generally it will be, something will come here and then it will go up here, down here, down here, and maybe it will be going towards the end, towards the sprint. Maybe, that's rare. Yeah, that's how it is. And that, as a scrum master, that's your responsibility to kind of do those things, to make sure that things look as much idealistic as possible. That's going to be your whole challenge and whole fight throughout the project. So yeah, so that's how things are done. You will see sprint report, you will see a burn down chart, you will see a velocity chart, and towards the end everything has to look going tapered downwards in the burn down charts. And based on these reports, you will be able to decide like what's the velocity like, what's the velocity has been. What I generally do is, with the velocity chart, I export it to Excel, and once I export it to Excel, what I like to do is so this is my velocity chart for this sprint. Once I've exported in Excel, what I like to do is I like to compare it with the previous velocities from the previous sprints, and I place them side by side. And generally, the velocity has to be going up. And if it's going up and it's doing good, I like to show that to my stakeholders, to my business, and look, hey, velocity is going up, right? So yeah, so that's what I like to do with the velocity charts and the sprint reports and the burn down charts, right? And so this is how it's done, okay? And once that is that, so all the reports are here. We'll go back to the project. We have our active sprint has been completed. Now what we can also do is we can also look at different kind of things like Confluence, right? What's the use of Confluence? So the use of Confluence, how I use Confluence is basically I use Confluence to store documents. I use Confluence to store meeting recordings. I use Confluence to store who is who in the team. I use Confluence to store like what kind of epics we're working on and what what's our roadmap, and kind of store that information in Confluence, right? And this is what Confluence looks like. And how you get to Confluence is you basically go to where is the link to those? Okay, you click here and you click on Confluence, and that's how you get to Confluence. And you can link even more. You can link Slack here. Okay, I generally link Slack all the time. So you can link Slack here. You can link other things over here. So right now we are just heading to Confluence. So I'll click on this, and we'll be heading to Confluence now. And in Confluence, I'll do a separate tutorial for Confluence. It's going to be a short one. For Scrum Masters, the only thing Scrum Masters need to worry about with Confluence is they just need to know, so we are going to use it for web app development. They just need to know how to create different documents, okay? So this is how it will look like. What we are going to do here is we are going to create a new page where we are going to store our roadmap, our project roadmap for web app development, and that's how it's going to. We're going to publish it, and voila, we have our new page, which is roadmap, and we can add information here. We can add labels here. We can even add a sample page here, which will go under this roadmap, and we can create kind of like a library of different pages that will show, our roadmap, our future steps, what we are trying to build, and what we're trying to create. So that's how Confluence works. You can add different things here. You can add charts and diagramming. What I like to store in Confluence is my meeting recordings, my sprint reports, velocity charts from this week and from this sprint and previous sprint, any issues, any dependencies that we are facing, my team charter, the capacity tracker, all these things that needs to be stored, all the documents that need to be stored, they go in Confluence. That's what Confluence is for, and it's linked to Jira. Okay, so now we are going to go back to Jira, and in Jira we are going to go back to our project web app development. And in web app development, we don't have any active sprints right now. In the backlog, we only have one user story, which will be adding to the next sprint. And I'll basically create new user stories right here by clicking here. Once I have created new user stories, I will add them to this epic. And once I have added them to this epic, and we will add them to the sprint. Once we have them in the sprint, I will start the sprint. The sprint will start, and in the sprint board we will have this to do, in progress, block, review, and done. And yeah, so that's how this process works. That's how Jira works for a Scrum Master. It's really simple. It's really easy to play around with. You can just log in and you can use it for free, and you can just play around and have a great idea of how things work. Okay, and that's just a very general and a very enhanced overview of Jira, what a Scrum Master does on a daily basis in Jira. Okay. Um, According to different projects, there are different things. There are different tools that are integrated with Jira, like Bitbucket and GitHub and things like that. But those are all according to different projects. But if you are trying to crack an interview, or if you are trying to understand what a Scrum Master does, this is what a Scrum Master does with Jira and Confluence. It's very simple. If you like this type of video, leave me a like and comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you are looking for this this whole pattern of teaching and whole information about Jira and Confluence, click on the send me an email, and I'll be happy to share this information with you. If you are looking for a capacity tracker, send me an email. I'll be happy to share the capacity tracker with you. If you are looking for coaching, go in the link down below. I'm the only person and the best person that can help you get a job in this market as a Scrum Master. Click on the link down below and set up a one-on-one consultation with me, and let's get you the job. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.